In Lahore, Pakistan in late 1999, a chilling letter arrived at the offices of a local newspaper and the police. It was written by a man named Javed Iqbal. In the letter, he calmly claimed responsibility for taking the lives of 100 young boys. He provided details, photographs, and even the address where investigators could find the evidence. Authorities immediately acted. When they entered his home in the Shadbagh area of Lahore, what they discovered would shock the entire country. Inside, they found chemical containers, personal belongings of missing children, and a diary that documented names, ages, and dates, an organized record of what he had done. Photographs of the victims were neatly stored, creating a disturbing archive of the crimes. Javed Iqbal was born in 1961 and raised in Lahore in a financially stable household. He ran a steel business and was considered soft-spoken and polite by those who knew him. Outwardly, he did not raise suspicion, but for months he had been targeting some of the city's most vulnerable, homeless boys, orphans, and runaways. He offered them shelter, work, or food, then took advantage of their trust. He claimed in his letter that his actions were meant to expose the failures of law enforcement, referencing an incident years earlier where he alleged police had mistreated him during an investigation. Whether this was genuine or an attempt to justify his actions remains unclear. Following the discovery of his house, Iqbal disappeared. For weeks, a nationwide manhunt ensued. His story dominated headlines across Pakistan. The public demanded answers. The families of missing boys demanded justice. Eventually, in a surprising move, Javed Iqbal walked into the office of the same newspaper that had received his confession and turned himself in. He said he feared for his life in police custody and wanted to surrender publicly. His demeanor remained calm and controlled as he spoke to journalists. In custody, Iqbal reiterated his confessions and provided further details to investigators. He claimed he kept detailed records to prove the seriousness of what he had done. His statements remained consistent and cold. His trial began in early 2000. Due to the disturbing nature of the crimes and the number of victims involved, the courtroom was tense and heavily covered by the media. The judge issued a symbolic sentence declaring that Iqbal should receive the same fate he had inflicted upon his victims. However, due to human rights concerns and international attention, the state later clarified that the sentence would not be carried out in that form. Before any execution could take place, in October 2001, Javed Iqbal and an accomplice were found dead in their prison cells. Officials reported it as a suicide. However, some discrepancies in the post-mortem report led to speculation about the actual cause of death. Questions were raised, but answers never came. With Iqbal's death, many of the families who had lost children were left with unresolved pain. Some never even found out if their child was among the 100 victims he listed. For them, justice felt incomplete. The case of Javed Iqbal revealed serious gaps in child protection and law enforcement procedures in Pakistan. In its aftermath, conversations around child safety, missing persons, and legal reforms became more urgent. Some new laws were passed, but activists argue that enforcement remains inconsistent to this day. This story is not just about one man's actions. It is a reflection of a system that allowed such crimes to go unnoticed for too long. It is about society's responsibility to protect those who have no one else to turn to. The children who were lost in this tragedy remain nameless in the public record, but their memory continues to call for accountability, vigilance, and change. Javed Iqbal's crimes left a permanent scar on Pakistan's collective conscience. His story is difficult to hear, but it is important to remember, not to sensationalize, but to learn, and to make sure it never happens again.